Check. This is the Board of County Commissioners' regular meeting on April 14th, 2026 in Board Chambers, Tavares, Florida.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Lake County Board of County Commissioners meeting this April 14th, 2026. We're going to open our meeting today with an invocation. I'm looking for Pastor Bobby Rowe. There he is. I looked all over here and I didn't. I know usually you do sit over there. Welcome, and after the invocation, we'll remain standing for the pledge.
Before I pray, I just want to say thank all of you for your service, your commitment to Lake County, and your commitment to the call that you serve your county. Let us pray. Lord, I thank you for this day. This is the day that you have made. We choose to rejoice and to be glad in this day. Lord, I pray that you will continue to give our commissioners wisdom as they make decisions for Lake County. Lord, continue to guide them. We ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor. Now to check to see if we have any modifications to our agenda, our county manager, Jennifer Barker.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. On tab 7, the Lake County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation and Resilience Plan, it's quite a mouthful, was revised to include Seminole County.
All right. And no other changes. Moving along then to our Employee Service Awards and Quarterly Awards. Janine Nelson, Associate Director of Human Resources, will present those awards.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I'm Janine Nelson with the Office of Human Resources and Risk Management. This morning, you are recognizing employees who have reached significant milestones in their careers with Lake County, as well as some quarterly award winners. All right, let's get started. We're going to be 5 years, first of all. We've got Office of Human Resources and Risk Management. One moment. We're good? Okay, thank you. All right, Office of Human Resources and Risk Management, we have Candace Porbet, Risk Management Coordinator, Cecilia Koza, Office Associate 4, and Freya Sturgeon, Office Associate 1. Office of Code Enforcement, we have Christopher Boyce, Compliance and Monitoring Specialist, and Megan Hurd, Office Associate 5. Fire Rescue, Christian Cortez, Firefighter Paramedic, and also Bruno Musin, Firefighter Paramedic. Building Services, Holman Horton, Licensing Investigator, and Nancy Schultz, Development Review Tech 3. Office of Development Services, Sherry Hutchison, our Senior Financial Coordinator for that office. Water Resources, Anna Powell, Laboratory Associate. County Probation, Wendy Wilkett, Probation Associate. Public Works, Jesse Fullen, Roads Maintenance Operator, and that's for 5 years. With those individuals that are here that we're recognizing for 5 years, please stand up and we'll give you a round of applause. Thank you for your service. Moving on to 10 years, we have a fire class, Fire Lieutenant Paramedic Thomas Bliffen, Dylan Malden, and Austin Morset. Fire Lieutenant EMT Nicholas Fiak. Firefighter Paramedic Daniel Lang, Rinker Robinson, and Gregory Sandler. And Firefighter EMT William Snyder. We also have individuals from the Office of Solid Waste, Tony Ellis, Financial Coordinator. County Probation, Kieran Johnson, Probation Officer. IT, Larry Martin, GIS Administrator. Housing and Community Services, Roberta Nora. Office of Parks and Trails, Kelly Ellis. Public Works and Engineering, Oz Nunez. Let's have those 10-year employees stand up. I saw several of them here. Let's give them a round of applause, please. 15 years. Public Works Maintenance Area 1, Leesburg, we have Donald Gardner, Roads Area Maintenance Supervisor. Public Works Road Construction, Les Westlake, Construction Inspector 2. Public Works Maintenance Area 2, Mineola, Richard Marino, Road Senior Equipment Operator. And Office of Library Services, Aaron Taylor, Library Assistant, and he's at Cooper Memorial Library. Let's recognize those 15-year employees. many years. Fire Rescue, Robert Fickett, Battalion Fire Chief, Matthew Barton, Fire Lieutenant Paramedic. Public Works Design Engineering, Roy Shores, Roadway Designer 2, and Public Works Traffic Operations, Dwayne Turner, he's a sign and striping technician 1. Would those 20-year individuals stand, please? Have any? We also have some 25-year employees that we're celebrating today. Fire Rescue, James Drake, firefighter EMT, Planning and Zoning, Ms. Barone, Planning Manager, and IT Business Office, Rebecca Brown, Records Management Technician. Chris Hicks, Roads Area Maintenance Supervisor for Area 3 Umatilla, 25 years. Thank you. Stand up. Three retirements that we're also celebrating. Frederick Bowler from Parks and Trails, 7 years. Catherine Blanton, 19 years. She's with Housing and Community Services. And in 23 years, we have a Fire Lieutenant EMT, Jeff Coulthard. So I don't believe any of those individuals were able to make it, but we could give them a round of applause. We're going to move on to our quarterly awards. Our Employee of the Quarter was not able to be here today. He had a previous engagement. We are recognizing William Campbell, Parts and Supply Technician, Office of Facilities Management. He's the recipient of the quarter because he was nominated not only for his consistent level of excellent customer service over time, but especially for his level of excellence, which was showcased during the recent work on the county administration building during the window replacement project. This recognition is well-deserved. He always makes a positive impact in his work assignments, going above and beyond to support his facilities team. He delivers a strong level of expertise and customer-focused attitude. Congratulations, Bill, for your consistently pleasant demeanor and your ability to help everyone in every situation. Our Supervisor of the Quarter, could you stand, Miranda? I thought it was her birthday when I first came in. I was going to say happy birthday, and then when I got up close, the banner says Supervisor of the Quarter. So we'll have to pass it along. Okay. Miranda Lanois. I said Lambert by mistake. So sorry. Miranda Lanois, Budget Manager, Office of Management and Budget. Budget Manager Miranda Lanois has been selected for the Supervisor of the Quarter Award. She has demonstrated a monumental impact in the success of the Office of Management and Budget during the most recent leadership change. Not only has she stepped up to the plate, her dedication and contributions highlight her impact on other departments as well as the entire organization. Several other departments have reached out and given her praise, citing her patience and empathy during the budgetary process. She remains positive no matter what the situation. She's the backbone of the budget team, and we express appreciation for all of her hard work. Congratulations, Miranda. Our Team of the Quarter. Team of the Quarter is the Cold Weather Sheltering Response Team. All right, and it's a large team. Would you stand up, please? Because it takes a lot of people to make things like this happen. Right, and so I'm going to read the names of the people, but I'm going to mention, first of all, what they did, all right? They're receiving this award in recognition of their outstanding dedication, teamwork, and compassion in supporting the community during the recent cold weather events. I know you all know this, but between January 1st, 2026 and February 28th, 2026, the county supported 18 nights of cold weather sheltering at 4 different locations to protect vulnerable residents during periods of dangerously low temperatures. This effort required significant coordination, flexibility, and commitment from staff who worked diligently to ensure each shelter site was properly prepared, staffed, and safe. Team members assisted with shelter setup, guest registration, transportation coordination, supply distribution, and on-site support for individuals seeking refuge from the cold. This team's work made a meaningful difference in supporting the residents of our community. Congratulations on your selection as Team of the Quarter. I'm going to go ahead and read the names. All right, Megan Milanese, Anna Ruiz, Lynn McNamara, Dana McGee, Emergency Management, Jeff Foley, Lexi Farmer, Communications, Maria Abdul Karim, Lynette Torres, Daisy Woodard, Edna Scott, Johnny Dubose, Anna Hall, Sonia Gonzalez Tirado, Housing and Community Service, Jill Brown, Joshua Smith, David Lazarson from Transit Services, Brad Keogh, Anthony Moore, Meg Godwin, Zach Totten, Karen Burt, Public Safety Support, Ruth Shaw, Cassandra Flint, Trent Rodriguez, Raya Sousa, Library Services, Jeremiah Letourneau, Building Services, Whitney Boston, Brenna Dorfer, Animal Services. Would these individuals please stand for their recognition? They're already doing so. Thank you. Thank you all so much for your participation. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you, and thanks to everybody, and especially that last team that was recognized. We know there's a lot of moving parts when you are undertaking cold weather sheltering, and a lot of things that can happen that you don't necessarily expect will happen, and we know it's not an easy task. We appreciate you. Yeah. Yes, sir. Maybe we can all leave at 11.
Do what?
Maybe we can all leave then.
Okay, just in case.
All right, looks like we can get rolling here. We'll move on to minutes approval. Mr. Cooney.
Good morning. I have two sets of minutes for your approval this morning.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. That passes 5-0. Citizen question and comment period. We're now entering the public comment period of the meeting when the public can discuss items on today's agenda with the exception of any zoning items. Anyone who's joined the meeting via Zoom using their phone may press *9 to virtually raise their hands. If you're participating online, please click the raise hand button to let us know that you wish to speak. Everyone will have 3 minutes to speak, and we would just ask that you wrap it up once we get to the end of that 3-minute period. I have 3 speaker cards today. Do we have anyone online? Okay, all right, so we'll move to the speaker cards. A couple of them are things that there's a little bit of background that staff might be able to help us with. I'm gonna take the first one, which is growth in Lake County. Kevin Kistner. That one's fine.
We know this county is really growing very fast. I think it really needs to slow down, but your fairgrounds you're going to build a big one. I'm from Hendricks County, Indiana originally, and they have a 110-acre fairgrounds they built 12 or 14 years ago. You should look at it on its website. They get a lot of activity there, and they had a lot of sponsors that helped them build that facility. And I don't know why you're letting Eustis annex all your ground in Lake County, but it's up to you guys. I'd like to talk to one of you about it.
Actually, we don't have a say. We can't stop a city from annexing. So that's kind of one of those things that is out there that folks think that we actually have the authority to stop them.
Are they taking your tax money? Are they getting the money and using your roads, our roads?
So all of our roads are all of our roads. And as far as the tax base, the underlying county millage is the underlying county millage, no matter whether.
You still get your money.
Well, it runs the countywide services. And then when the city annexes, they add their millage, which runs their additional services. But as far as the roads, if they don't take a road in and undertake the maintenance of it, it remains a county-maintained road so that we're all covering the expenses, which has been a point of contention between us and a lot of our cities, because we feel if you're going to add the population, then you should be taking on the additional maintenance of the roads.
Because they should be servicing it with their police too, instead of Lake County servicing it, if they take it in. Speaking of which, nobody's got the pay grade, but They still got them gambling joints running up on 19. How they get by with that, does anybody know?
We know, yeah, the sheriff is in charge of enforcement of the laws with regard to the online gambling operations. He's shut down several of them. Usually what happens is they go back to the Division of Corporations, they set up a new corporation, they reopen it, and then he has to actually be able to show that they're doing something illegal. Once that happens, closes it down, and then the cycle starts again. It's a difficult situation, but he is on top of it.
Everybody says it's above their pay grade I talk to. That's my 3 minutes. That's about all I got for you.
All right, well,
Look at the fairgrounds. You'll be impressed with it.
and you said did you say Hendricks County?
Indiana.
Okay, Indiana, gotcha. All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Very nice.
All right, the next card is regarding Burhan's Road and Lake Dalhousie Boat Launch. That's Paul Perkins. I appreciate you coming up and talking about it. Would you like me to have staff first address the things that we've been working on and what we're planning to do? Or okay, Justin or Angela, would one of you be willing to go over what we have been able to do so far?
Good morning. For the record, Angela Harold, Operations Director, Parks and Trails, Facilities Management, Public Lands. We have installed a gate down the road towards the boat ramp. New signage has been installed as you're leading up to the boat ramp to let everyone know that it is gated now. We had some complaints of partying and bonfires and things happening overnight. It is technically a private boat ramp, but there is an easement for FWC to still utilize the boat ramp to do any work on the lake. So we've been in contact with them. They have confirmed that we are allowed to gate it as long as it is open from dawn to dusk. So we've already modified our current contract with our contractor that opens and closes Pine Meadows. So they will be opening it in the morning, closing it in the evening, and we will be updating all of the signage. So it is actually in the works right now.
So, and have we confirmed that swimming, picnicking, those types of things are prohibited on that property?
Yes, ma'am. There is an ordinance in effect, and I am blanking on the number, but there is an ordinance that that says specifically for Lake Dalhousie, swimming, sunbathing, those things are all prohibited. So we're updating all the signage to reflect that.
Okay, and I know that I've gotten some complaints, and I've gone out there myself a couple times, and some of the problems that are happening now are happening outside of that particular area where cars are parking along the side of the road, or they're just being obnoxious if, they're asked to leave. But to a large degree, I mean, we're getting more into the enforcement realm of things, and we're working with Marine Patrol on that.
Yes, yes. Ma'am.
Okay, all right, so, Paul, if you would like to come up and give us your perspective and maybe more information that we need to know about.
This is a copy of the petition that I had emailed to each of you previously with an attachment for the signage that previously had been there. Thank you for your time in listening to this, but Burhan's had been when I first moved here 2 decades ago, Burhan's Road was about 10 feet or 12 feet wide. For a car to pass another car in the opposite direction, one had to pull off into the grass and allow a person to go through. The road maintenance has been very good, but it's a dirt road, and it's being eroded consistently by an increased traffic. I mean, in the past decade, I guess this county has grown by 100,000 residents. More people are utilizing the boat ramp, and people are going down there camping, picnicking, fishing, swimming, and it's creating conflicts between the neighbors and the people involved. So I don't want take anything away from any of the public. I mean, boat launching is great. Everybody enjoys the recreation on Lake Dalhousie. It's a beautiful lake. It's great for fishing and such. But to go out there and, set up a tent and set up picnic tables and do a bonfire at 10 o'clock at night. 2 weeks ago, in front of my home, a huge a huge pickup truck came, stopped, and then just accelerated as rapidly as he could, fishtailed down the road, nearly hit some people that were walking on the road. And in this group me chat that we have going on, everybody was complaining about it. So this petition represents, I think, 9 signatures, and I think there are 10 homes along the way. I got an email from the 10th person asking if they could please sign, and I had already sent you two updates to this petition. So I said, no, I'm not going to email bomb them, but, you know, it's a situation that, you know, I think just with a sign and some enforcement, you know, it's not a road problem, it's a management problem, and it's not, you know, the public doesn't have the opportunity to know what's going on because there was no sign posted. I'm glad to hear that there's a sign posted in the works, but if you could please ensure that the sign verbiage is what previously was there, consistent with the county ordinance, boat launching and retrieving only. It's not a general purpose recreation area, you know, it's too small for that. And somebody's going to get hurt with these trailers backing in and out and such. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here and organizing, getting the petition. I know I've been working on this for a couple months and working with the county attorney on this because it is an unusual situation. We don't own the property. It's not a typical boat ramp that is owned by the county. It's actually owned by a private individual, and that private individual purchased it in a tax deed sale, which was unusual in and of itself, and it has an FWC easement on it. So we have an agreement with FWC, as I understand it, to oversee the area. And as Angela indicated, we've been in contact with them and confirmed that it is okay with them if we close it off during the evening, so we know we can at least close it during the evening hours. And then it's going to come down to neighbors are going to have to call the sheriff when they see if somebody's violating the rules there, and also let us know. If these kind of activities are picking up, we're going to have to look for other ways that we can, you know, prevent this area from being misused.
Perfect, thank you. And just a final compliment, whomever put up that gate did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin, and your team. All right, the next one is Donnie Kent. This is regarding Blue Creek Lodge Road, Lake George Road, and boat ramp. And let me just check with you, Donnie, would you like to have Bobby Bonilla come up and give an update, or would you prefer to just go ahead and use your 3 minutes and then we'll address comments?
I'm not sure. So, good morning.
Good morning.
All 5 of you guys, right? I'll just give you a little rundown about myself. I only got 3 minutes, so my wife helped me shorten my list down. So, I was born in Eustis in the old hospital, and I went to Umatilla. That's where I was raised, right? All in Leslie's district. I moved to Pittman to escape the growth, and then I moved to Astor to try to get away from all of it, right? So a year ago or so, you built bathrooms on Butler Street at the public boat ramp in Astor, took up parking spots. At the same time, Blue Creek Road closed their boat ramp to private only. Well, guess what? All those people found our little boat ramp at the end of Lake George Road. Okay, so we just went through a terrible rain. Leslie met me out there. She didn't even know where it was. So I got a few dates here.
Well, I didn't know where it was.
Yeah. So October the 8th, I emailed you. The 13th, you texted me. The 15th, you met me, which was awesome. I couldn't believe it, actually. It was pretty quick. So Bobby came with you. I hadn't talked to anybody or seen anybody since basically then. Okay. On the 30th, I sent you another email. Bobby answered me and said, our road was on a 2-week schedule. Well, that was nothing we talked about, was a 2-week maintenance schedule. Nothing at all. Had nothing to do with that. Jeff, I was glad he come back, one of my buddies. As soon as he seen me, he knew what I was here for. Everybody in Lake County knows our road, it goes through a swamp. right? The road is lower than the swamp. So when it rains, they come and cut grooves in the road, which is awesome when it's dry. It lets the water off the road, right? Which greatly appreciated. But guess what? When the swamp fills up, the water comes back through the grooves into the road, and it's a disaster. So I just basically want to know where we're at. That was October the 8th of 25. Today is the 14th of 26. 6, 7 months, nothing. Let me rephrase it. They did come and attempt to mow the side of the road. Some of it looked really great, and some of it was. So where are we at with it? What are we doing?
Bobby, you mind coming up? And I know when we were out there, Bobby gave me a schedule of things.
Here he is. Awesome.
We talked about the things that his team was going to be working on. From my standpoint, at that point, I tossed the ball. And that's basically what we all do. We don't go out and grade roads ourselves. We don't cut ditches. We don't mow the sides of roads. We work with our staff, and I was given information about what would be done in the future. But that road, a lot of things that are going on out there with regard to boat usage or boat ramp usage, we have a tremendous number of people that are coming up to Astor in particular, and even like this Lake Dalhousie boat ramp we were talking about, that are coming out of our county, coming into the county, using our facilities. Nothing we can really do about that, but there's a huge influx of additional activity. So the bathrooms at Butler were needed big time. Bobby is also, and Angela, we're working on trying to create more space for boat trailers at Butler. But as far as, losing a couple spaces, and then that was the cause of people coming out to the Lake George ramp, we're managing a lot of boat traffic. But Bobby's very aware of what those issues are on that road, and it's a long-term, it's a longer-term fix, and like you said, the road literally goes through a swamp. So when the swamp fills up, swamp goes over the road. When it's dry and we get a little rain, at least it can drain off. But so Bobby, you fill us in on the technical side of what's planned.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Bobby Bonilla. Donnie, thank you for coming. In the audience today, I have the road superintendent and the engineer of that section of the north part of Lake County. When we met out there, one of the things that is, obviously, that's a low-lying area. It floods. So the intent, as a future permanent project, the ramp itself needs to be raised. That means the road itself will be raised. That is part of the design engineering that has to take place. In the meanwhile, we'll continue to do the temporary repairs through 57 stone lime rocks, but we cannot do a permanent repair until we have design engineering. There are other stakeholders involved with this one. The Florida Forestry, they own part of that land, so this is a joint effort. We're doing our due diligence to make sure that we elevate the ramp, the staging area, and the parking at the proper height that is needed. For years, that area constantly gets flooded every time we get hurricane or tropical storms. So again, we want to do this right. We want to create the swells and ditches to have the water run off properly. So it's a longer-term project. The Board of County Commissioners did provide funding this year to begin that design process. So we are working.
Thank you, Bobby. And I from my understanding, we were working on it. It's just that there's multiple steps. But there are multiple steps, Donnie, and you know this.
I know that.
You worked in public facilities for years, so you get it.
You.
And so, this is like not just you go out there and just start dumping concrete on it to raise the road. There's a lot that goes into this. So we're working on that.
Our ramp systems have been seeing improvement in phases over the years, and this is the same situation with the Lake George.
Appreciate it, Bobby.
Our staff
Appreciate
is
what you
ready
guys are
and
doing.
will continue to serve the residents of that area. Anytime there's a concern or the road is not passable, or the depressions, we'll go out there and make sure we can make that passable.
I get that. That's why I'm here, because all you get is a runaround. Everybody, all my friends, a lot of them work here today, which a bunch of them, I'm glad Jeff came back. Every one of them knew what I was here for when I showed up. They all knew. Everybody knows the road's bad. The grader was there Thursday, right? In the pouring rain, he was there cutting ditches in it, and now he won't be back for 2 weeks. So the road is a complete disaster right now. So what are we supposed to do for 2 weeks?
You don't have to wait 2 weeks. If it's on as needed, if it needs to be repaired, we'll make sure it gets repaired.
How long is the road that you're gonna,
Long.
The road, it's miles and miles.
Miles.
You gotta
Four
Yes,
miles.
this is next,
you gotta raise it, right? Because it's
Yes.
through a wet one? Yeah, that's
yeah.
gonna be a lot.
This is, and again, the restructuring of Public Works with the engineering operations, all this plays into how we're gonna look at things moving forward. There's an operations component, but there's also the engineering and design of that. And this is how we're gonna look at every road.
So Donnie, I'm curious, how many houses are down there where you live?
Ma'am,
How many houses are down there where you live?
from Blue Creek and my road,
Well, over here by the boat ramp.
by the boat ramp, there's only 9 of us. I know.
Yeah.
I chose to move out, I did. But the traffic and everything else in the road is, I grew up out there. The road was never like it is now, never. There's about 31 of us, 32 of us total back there. I'm not just talking about Lake George Road and Ramp. I'm talking about Blue Creek Lodge Road. It's a disaster, and they all know it. Chris knows it, Jeff knows it, Terry knows it, Steve knows it. They all know it.
Right, I mean, it's literally roads going through swamps, so
That's
and when
It's
we
the
get
traffic.
extra weather or bad weather, or we get a storm and the lake goes up, and when I was out there that day, the boat ramp was 100% covered with
Covered.
water, because the water was so high.
Right.
So, I mean, this is not your typical situation, this is a difficult engineering situation, and it's a lot of money to raise that road. So, we're looking for a solution here, and
Where are we at with it? That's why I'm here. So what are we doing with it? Is it stopped for 7 months? We gotta wait another 70 years for somebody to do something? Or,
And we'll take this conversation out of the meeting, because we got to get moving with the meeting, but I think the answer was pretty clear that
who's gonna call me?
I'll call you.
You got my phone number, you also have my wife's phone number.
I'll call you.
all right, thank you, Bobby, I appreciate what you guys are doing.
I
right.
got exactly what I expected today.
Okay.
Yeah, right,
No answer. Thank you.
yeah, all right. Well, I think everybody else heard an answer, so that's up to you to hear what you want to hear. All right, moving along then to the presentation of proclamations. David Kilberry.
Good morning, Commissioners. David Kilberry, Public Safety Director. This week, April 12th through the 18th, is our National Telecommunicators Week. And we're just here to recognize, I know the board has a proclamation for our dispatchers. I just want to put a few things in perspective, because a lot of people probably don't think about this, but from Key West, Florida to Cape Flattery, Washington, and Madawaska, Maine, down to San Diego, California, and everywhere else in between, there stands a 911 communications center to help visitors and residents for any type of emergency that may come their way. And when that 3-number digit of 911 is called, it's answered with police, fire, ambulance. And we have an elite team here in Lake County with the Sheriff's Department. We love our acronyms in public safety. And so there is one called a PSAP, and that is a public safety answering point. And over in our communications center, everything goes into law enforcement. If it's fire and ambulance, it's moved over to our dispatchers on the fire side, and I'm going to have them step up here and join me, because these are people that are the opposite of kids should be seen and not heard. These professionals are heard but rarely seen. So if they could step up here and join with me, they are truly our first responders. Nobody knows of the emergency before these men and women that serve in our center. They bring calm out of chaos, and I'm truly proud. Deputy Chief Kim Stevens and Division Chief Joanna Buchanan have an elite team. It's an accredited dispatch center, and I'm so proud of them. You'll recall this past summer, all of the fire chiefs were here for a perfect 10 out of 10 score for our ISO, and it's what these men and women do, and I'm so proud of them. And so I just wanted to share one thing, if you have not been over there in the center, a local artist has designed a mural called the Tree of Life. And on that are little leaves. And these dispatchers were instrumental in saving a life or bringing a newborn into the world through the voice coaching of those emergencies. And so with that, I just want to introduce them and acknowledge for our national public telecommunicators how proud I am. And one shameless plug, if you are a resident and you're not on the app of Smart 911, do it. It gives the dispatcher vital information before you say a word. Smart 911. And with that, I'll turn it back.
All
Over to
right.
you.
Well,
Thank you.
and we have thank you so much for those comments. And we can tell it's an emotional issue
It
for
is.
you because it means so much. You can't do what you all do if you don't have these folks answering those calls and knowing where to direct it and how to keep people calm in the process of waiting for a response to an emergency. So we have a proclamation this morning, Proclamation 2026-18. I need a motion for approval.
Move to approve.
All right. I think it was like unanimous first, unanimous second as far as who made it. Y'all, clerk's got to decide who made the motion and the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. That passes 5-0. And I'll come down and present it. Let me just read it into the record. Whereas 911 was designated by Congress as the national emergency call number under the Wireless Communications and Public Safety Act of 1999, and whereas the 911 Public Safety Telecommunicator plays a critical role in emergency response as the first line of communication for persons needing law enforcement, fire, or medical response, and are very often the first public safety employees handling the emergency. And whereas the 911 Public Safety Telecommunicator requires specialized training and skills to gather vital information and make split-second decisions to form the foundation of an effective emergency response, prevent the worsening of a situation, provide situational awareness to first responders, and/or provide life-saving directions. And whereas County Fire Rescue Emergency Dispatch handled approximately 122,303 emergency and non-emergency related calls and dispatched 72,259 incidents in 2025. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Lake County, Florida, the week of April 12th through 18th, 2026 shall be known, designated, and set aside as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Lake County, and recognizes the men and women telecommunicators as being more than clerical employees as they serve in their critical role as the first responders, and proclaim them as the first responders. A copy of this proclamation shall be spread upon the minutes of this meeting and shall be effective on this date. So let me come down and
As
present.
you make your way down, I will share a story with you. Nobody plans to call 911, and when you do, it is truly refreshing to know that someone's there to help. On Sunday afternoon, my mom called me. She's 83, and she had fallen. And so I did not take my phone or my radio with me and found where I could not get my mother up. And I, as the public safety director, called 911 and can tell you I was totally happy with the service and relieved to get the help that I need. I'm glad to say my mom is fine, but we did have a trip to the South Lake Emergency Room, and you've got a great team out there, and I can attest to it as not only the director, but as a customer.
I think it was on Sunday, I was coming back from the fairgrounds, and I was on 44A, and there was a car on fire. So I pulled over and called 911. And fortunately, other people had already called, and they let me know right away, but it was so fast from the time that you dialed the number to you got the first person on the line to the time that you got the dispatcher and they let you know what was going on, and they had already received calls. But we're fortunate to have such a great team. We really are. Okay, moving along now to the Clerk of Court's consent agenda. Mr. Cooney?
Morning again, I have 3 items on my consent agenda for your approval.
All in favor say aye. Aye. That passes 5-0. We have consent agenda 4 through 14.
Move to pull tab 5.
I'd like to pull tab 14, just for some clarification.
Okay, all right, so we're pulling 5 and 14. Do we have a motion to approve the other items on consent?
Move for approval of tabs 4 through 14 minus 5 and 14.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Now moving back to tab 5.
This is an interlocal agreement to allow the county to directly pay for various leaseholds that the tax collector has purchased. I think that the growth in those leaseholds is inordinate and inappropriate. I think that some of the buildings don't fulfill the statute that he's required to meet regarding taxpayer leaseholds because they're not really branch offices. Statute says he can have these leases as long as they're branch offices. I don't probably have the votes for this, but I would probably litigate that issue because I know firsthand that some of those offices are not branch offices. They're not publicly accessible. They're not conducting state business. One of them is equipped with a bar. One of them is equipped with a bunch of novelty license plates that the tax collector decided to use taxpayer money to piss away for, I guess, his own personal gain. So I don't support an interlocal agreement to alleviate his abuse of the statute and the law and the abuse of Lake County taxpayer funds. He does have the legal authority to go and try to strike these agreements independently of an interlocal agreement. I'm sure he will do so. If he does, I will not vote for the budget this year because the growth in our county constitutional officers' budgets is, again, inordinate, insane, unpredictable, not sustainable, and it's prohibiting this county from ever fixing its road problem. I'll be voting against this for legal and other reasons, and I encourage you guys to vote against it too.
Could I get some clarification from the county attorney on that interpretation of the statute with regard to branch offices? Is that something that you can explain to us?
Yeah, so I haven't looked at his statute in quite some time. These are leases he's already entered into, so they're already in effect. And what he's asking at this point is for the county to assume the lease payments. Currently, he pays them out of his budget, which reduces the excess fees that he returns to the county. If we take the lease payments, then he obviously gives that money back to us in excess fees. I'd have to go back and look at the statute to verify, but he has his own attorney, so I don't represent him when he signs these leases.
So as far as like where we come out from a financial standpoint, if he pays for them directly, then it reduces the excess fees that come back into the general fund.
That's correct.
If it goes through us, then he gives us those excess fees. So it's, money-wise, it's the same result. It's just a question of whether he pays for the lease directly. Is that correct?
Correct, and we're not, in this interlocal, we're not assuming the leases, we're just making the payments on his behalf. Again, he has already signed all of these leases, they're already in effect.
I'm just trying to understand from our standpoint as the Board of County Commissioners, how is it beneficial to our role for us to be making the payments versus him? I mean, why even go through this step?
Yeah,
You
I don't have a legal answer for that. I don't know if Jennifer has a practical answer for that.
We do have several items that we pay for on behalf of the constitutional officers. It's called in-house support, for lack of a better term. It could include insurance, it includes utilities in some of the branch locations, things of that nature. And because some of his leases were provides direct payment for. I think it was a matter of consistency in his way of thinking, so the county pays for all of the leases, rather than he's paying for a few, and then the county pays for a few directly.
Is this particular one the place where he has his own office, like his, like,
It's the one on Distant, I think.
the,
Correct. It does include the lease on Distant Avenue. So there's 5 leases. There is the Prickett lease, which is North Citrus Boulevard in Leesburg. There is the John Oldham property, which is here in Tavares. There's the Distant property. There is the Jawad Leesburg property, which I believe is where his his main office is in Leesburg. And then we have Southridge Shops, which is a recent lease over by Twisted Biscuit in the sheriff's office, where I believe he does some of his driver's license types of functions there. So those are open to the public as well.
and I wouldn't have an issue with the businesses that are, in fact, open to the public. I think my issue is the building that doesn't have a sign on it, that's used as an office. So if I'm trying to have a meeting with the tax collector, I don't even know that he has an office there. To me, that's problematic. I feel like if that should be paid for, if he's going to have that, he should be, I just don't like the idea that we're like blessing it by bringing it under the realm of the county paying for it. I think a public official should have an office that has a sign on it and that the public knows where that official is. And when they want to have a meeting, there's a place that's open to the public for a meeting. Anyway, that's been my concern, and so I wouldn't support it as long as that particular property is in there.
So the question I have is, has the tax collector ever gone over budget with his leases, or is he always given money back from the excess fees that he's collected?
We've always received excess revenue back, as long as I've been with the county anyway, and that's been since 2013. We've always received excess revenue back. It varies depending on things that may pop up throughout the year. For instance, when he had to build out a new facility for the plantation area, he had additional costs related to furniture, fixtures, and equipment that were unplanned, a one-time expense. So he did a budget amendment. He paid for those himself. However, those did reduce the excess fees for that year. So you have variables like that from year to year.
Correct, but
But we've always received excess revenue back, yes.
okay, and he's never gone over that.
Correct.
What Commissioner Campion was talking about, he has an office that the public pays for that no one knows about? Is that right?
There's not a sign on it. You wouldn't know that it's
Where is this
on
property?
Distant.
You're the Tavares guy, so you'll know.
Oh, is it the,
By Aesop's.
I thought he was getting rid of that.
So are you referencing the Distant property or the Oldham property?
The Oldham is over here, and it's got,
This one here is a Tommy Scott property. I thought he was getting rid of that, and that's why he took a sign down.
I've never seen a sign
There was
there.
never a sign.
Well, I saw a sign there once, because I've had a meeting there.
I never saw it. In fact, I drove in the back, didn't see a sign in the back either.
Yeah, the Distant property, I believe he signed that lease not that long ago, so that was.
Yeah, I've got to say that if the citizens of Lake County are paying for the building, then it needs to be designated as a county building, and that's where, whether he has his office there or not, where people can meet. I don't know if he's ever received a phone call and refused a meeting at one of his offices, has he?
I mean, how would we ever know that? I mean, that's not something we would know. It's just that
I would say that I would agree that he needs to have a sign on each property is paid by the citizens of Lake County. So what do we do there? Do we just say, hey, put up a sign?
We can make the request.
well, but where does the statute come into play? If it's not a branch office, is it a branch office? If the public can't come in, open the door, and conduct business there?
Well, they couldn't do it across the street either. I mean, if he had his office when he had his office across the street, you had to walk up, go through his secretary, and then get to him. I'm assuming it's the same way, only he's using less space.
So how about we do this, since this was a consent item and the tax collector is not here, how about we table it and bring it back at the next meeting and ask him to come and have that discussion with you?
Okay. All right, so do we need a motion to table?
Move to table.
All right, second. And is that to a date certain based on when he's available? How are we going to do that?
We can reach out to him to see when he's available. I would anticipate it would be in May.
All right, so we're just tabling it, and you're going to just put it back on the agenda based on a schedule?
Correct.
Okay, all right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes.
I'll second it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They were looking around. They didn't know.
For the second?
Oh, okay.
Commissioner Parks. All right, now moving on to tab 14.
Tab 14, I just got a couple of questions. This is on the Supervisor of Election Building. Good morning, sir. How are you? The question I have is we have a guaranteed maximum price of $3.1 million. What I'm concerned about is change orders. As you know, change orders can come out and then drive this cost up exponentially. What is our safeguard against change orders?
So we will be working closely with not only the architect, our facilities department, and the supervisor of elections, as well as the firm that is ultimately approved for the construction contract. Our staff has worked closely with the architect on the design. We had a lot of back and forth to make sure that we had as much incorporated into that design as possible, so there were no surprises, which usually drive up the change orders. We do know of one change order at this point, and it was just a discrepancy in the flooring in the lobby. You're right, no, it's a discrepancy in the lobby flooring. But aside from that, we do not anticipate there would be any change orders. We don't think there's any surprises. However, we do have the additional $300,000 built into that 3.1 number for contingency. So if things do pop up that we were not anticipating, that funding will accommodate those changes.
Okay, so the Honorable Alan Hayes is here. You don't need to come up to the stands, but do you anticipate any big change orders? You can just shake your head yes or no, or you can come up.
Oh, he's going to come up.
Hey, they're friends, so he can say that, Dr. Holman.
Do you want to start your timer now? Or no?
You got 3 minutes.
No. Short answer to your question, no, sir, we don't anticipate any change orders. There is, excuse me, there is a list of projects or additional parts of this project that I have intentionally taken personal control over, because one of them is called the security system, and we don't want that out here, there,
No, I
and yonder.
understand that completely.
Okay. Bottom line is the $300,000 that Jennifer talked about will cover that list of projects. So going forward, I think everything is going to fit in with that $300,000 additional over the contract.
Okay. What about our lease at our other facility? Are we getting rid of that lease?
Which facility you
The
talking
one you're
about?
currently in?
No, absolutely not. Where I'm currently, that lease where I currently occupied is going to become the warehouse.
How many square feet are you currently in?
The total building's 18,000.
How many square feet are you going into?
All we're doing is moving the administrative functions of my office to the 20,000 square feet at Joanne's. But the 18,000 where we are now is going to become the warehouse.
So this will be the storefront for the public.
That's right.
Here, where Joanne's was.
Okay.
So, and the building over by Bill's, don't we have a lease building over by Tractor Supply that you had stuff in?
Right, now that lease
that'll
should
be-
go bye-bye.
That should go away.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other spaces you got spaced away that are housing other locations that can be consolidated into your 18,000 square feet?
No, sir, we do have a 53-foot trailer and a 48-foot trailer behind the building that we currently have stacked with stuff in there. And it's my
That
hope
can be
that we can
moved
get rid of
into-
them and get it moved inside.
Perfect, okay.
But really, to summarize everything, what we have here is the 20,000 square feet facility that this contract is pertaining to is going to give us what I would call an interim facility for our administrative functions. You know, the board had a feasibility study done, a needs study done, paid over $20,000 for it, and that needs study said that we needed 48,400 square feet.
Well aware of
We're
that.
still not there yet. And so this will give us some breathing room. It will allow our warehouse to finally expand and become an efficient operation instead of the inefficiency that we're working with. right
Okay, and all of your equipment's going to be housed in one location. It's going to
Correct.
be secured with security cameras and all your alarm systems and stuff. Okay. Okay, and everybody knows this county's not growing anymore, so.
Oh, sure.
Right, we're going to stop that today.
Matter of fact, we're going to have a fire sale, get rid of some.
All right. Thank you for the information.
Yes, sir.
Well, I said that if you could keep it to $3 million, that I would approve it, so I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. There you go. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you being available to answer questions, too.
Come and see us in December when we get moved in.
All right, I'm sure we will. Okay, all right, we would be up to tab 15, but I would like to move up tab 18 because I have a member of the public here, and I know that he needs to get on with some things he's got going on today. Dr. Holman is here, and he's the one who had reached out to me about this situation. This is tab 18. It's discussion and direction about a proposed ordinance amending section 14.02 of the land development regulations regarding zoning permits to require an HOA compliance affidavit so that when someone brings in their plans, they have to certify that they've actually done what they were supposed to do with their HOA if there was an architectural requirement, so that we don't get in a situation where they proceed to build and then it's on the HOA and the people in the neighborhood to try to pursue some action against them. It at least puts the burden on that property owner to say, yes, I've done everything that I need to do. We anticipated the situation where you might have a builder that's still involved, so that they would be in the position to be able to, if they're actually in charge of the architectural committee, they can verify they've met the requirements. So I did ask him to be here in case you all had questions for him about what he's gone through in his own HOA, where this has become a problem. So I'll wait to see whether anyone has questions or whether you all want to move
I got
ahead.
a quick one. With these changes, would we be responsible for litigating this?
No, the ordinance is pretty clear that if somebody lies on the affidavit, it is not the county's responsibility to verify the information. It would not revoke a permit. It would not hold up a development. This is really just a notification process.
Thank you.
Commissioners, it's a real privilege to come and discuss things with you. I'm going to tell you some things that you probably didn't know about. I've been around Orange, Seminole, and Lake counties for a number of years. I started in Orange County. I migrated to Seminole County, and I ended up in Lake County. I was a Navy medic for 8 years, right out of high school. I became a dentist, and I was a medic because I needed to have my reserve to protect me so that I didn't fight in the Vietnam War, so I could get my dental degree. And that worked out really well. I also taught in colleges. I taught down at Valencia for about 15 years. I was in graduate school at Baylor University in Dallas, Texas. And I was a professor at those two institutions for a number of years. And as I say, there was one other thing I did that I wanted to tell you about, and that was, it was kind of the pinnacle of my life. I got involved with politics. So consequently, I am still interested in politics. I got involved in Orange County and Seminole County. They made me Board of Adjustments appointee and chairman of that committee for about 2 to 3 years. And then I ran for county commissioner. I wanted to see what it was like to sit in your seats. And that day, I lost by 800 votes in the whole county. I never had run for an office in my life. And I was very sad that day. And so I got over it real fast the next day when I decided that it was better to lose than to be a county commissioner. So I continued. My wife was involved in the Lake County jail. She was one of those people that would go in and talk to the women who were there for various reasons. And she really enjoyed that. We had her son actually was on drugs, and she would go in to try to help these other women in that process, and we became familiar with some of the Lake County operations. And so, as I say, I migrated from Orange County to Seminole County to Lake County. And Lake County was kind of interesting, and there's a little bit of a history which you probably don't know. I've been around for a few years. I'm 88 years old, and I'm still involved with county, and particularly Lake County. And as Commissioner explained, I'm not presently associated, well, I am associated, but not president of the HOA in Rolling Oak Estates. But what I'm here to say is that this is not just a Rolling Oak Estates problem that we're dealing with. And the good news, before you get upset, it'll cost you about $10. And I'm hoping that we can have you approve this resolution. But there's another part that you don't know. Some of you are not as old as I am. And that was that Catherine Hansen came before me here. And Catherine started in Orange, Seminole County. She had a dairy, and she had cows, and she kept moving her cows from Orange County to Seminole County till she didn't go across the bridge. She said that was going to be too crowded if you went across the Lake Monroe Bridge there. So she took a left and came down 46 and ended up in Sorrento, where I live and have lived for 40 years now. But more importantly, she decided that we needed to hire a consulting firm. She was one of you for a number of years, I think about 12, if I'm not mistaken. And at that time, she had heard that I was involved with various things along the way, and that she would like to have me on a committee that she appointed. And that committee had to do with the President Wekiwa Expressway. The state at that time had decided it was supposed to go right through Sorrento. And there were 5 people on our committee, including Sheriff Borders, who I met. And at that time, there were 5 commissioners. So there were 10 of us. And we spent a number of literally years trying to put this thing together. As I say, she hired a consulting firm.
and form this committee? Well, the consulting firm came to the same conclusions that we were, and that was that we wanted to have that Wekiva Parkway moved south so as to not disturb the Sorrento area, which was supposed to be peaceful and not have a expressway running down the middle of what is now known as Sorrento Avenue. And so she, again, had heard that I was interested and appointed me. So I have to say that I feel special that I was one of 10 people, counting 5 county commissioners and the 5 of us on the committee. And Sheriff Borders was on the committee at that time too, so I knew him pretty well. And that I was one of 10 people responsible for moving that expressway off of our properties down Sorrento to the present location. And that was an accomplishment that I really felt good about. So the vote was upheld, and I guess the state went along with the county's recommendation that it be moved, and so be it. So why do we have HOAs? Well, I happen to have been president of the one that I live in, Rolling Oak Estates. And after the developers developed about 3/4 of it, they turned it over to us. Actually, they turned it over to me. And right off the bat, believe it or not, well, not right off the bat, but very soon into the presence of this development, we had somebody that wanted to challenge our HOA. And in so challenging, they wanted to put up a beautiful metal building in the middle of our HOA. Now, why do we have HOAs? Well, most people don't understand why we have HOAs. It doesn't benefit the individual, but it benefits his neighbor and his neighbor and his neighbor, such that it keeps the value of the houses up where they should be in the neighborhood, and it maintains the beauty and continuity of that area. And so we tried to work together, and we tried to keep it for all. Our dues, annual dues, were $50 a year. When this situation occurred, we had to raise the dues to $150 a year. So what happens when people don't work together? Well, they can't read, I guess. We have 2 walls that has signage on it that says deed restricted community. They were supposedly given documents by the realtors who didn't do their job. They were interested in making their money and getting out of there. And so we ended up with a case that the applicant ignored the HOA authority. The county signed off on it, said it was okay to have metal buildings in here. And yet, the only option that we had was to go ahead and, as an HOA, and I being the president, spent many hours up in these buildings going over the HOA documents, which were made and really expressed well by our attorney. And so we proceeded to sue them. And as we sued them, we lost. And I guess the judge at that time was in a hurry to get home that day. because he obviously didn't read the documents, and he decided that our secretary didn't do a very good job at holding this thing together. So he said that the secretary's notes weren't adequate enough, and he made that decision on the secretary's notes.
Dr. Holman, I don't want to cut you off, but we really have a long agenda, and I
Okay,
think we
I'm
got,
just about finished.
we understand what the concern is.
I appreciate your listening, though, and, you know, I'm just about finished. If you give me another 2 or 3 minutes, I think I can finish this up. So basically, what happened is that we got sued. We in turn, or we didn't, we basically lost $38,000 in this situation. And the interesting thing is that the guy that got the okay went ahead and paid half of the dues, half of the attorney fees, which brought us down to the $25,000, which we actually had. But he went ahead and put up the building anyway, because the county said it was all right. And so in so doing, we had no choice but to sue him. There were 3 basic regulations, and I think these are kind of basic in all of these HOA situations. One was that the wonderful metal-looking buildings be made of the same material the houses were made of. That means if it was a wooden house, it was a wooden construction. If it was a brick house, it was brick, concrete, and so forth. So what we ended up with is what I call copycat applicants. They, after he did his thing, and other people found out that, hey, maybe we're not very strong as an HOA. Let's go ahead and do it, and we'll just forget it because the county said it was all right. So what I'm doing is I'm asking the county that if there's some way that we can have a rubber stamp, about a $10 stamp or something, where you stamp the documents, and the county person who has that document will ask the simple question, and this is my point.
I move to approve the item.
Okay. And that is simply, have you seen whether this is in an HOA? Would you go and make sure that the HOA signs off? And like I said, a rubber stamp is probably, for $10, all you need to get them to sign off so that they come back to the county and then sign off.
I'll second the motion.
So,
You've got what you're asking for. It's not exactly the way that you want it, but it's very close in light of what we
Right.
have to do to protect the county's liability. So
appreciate
I
your
think,
listening. So I'm representing all HOAs, little or small or whatever, okay?
good,
Thank you very much.
Just to
And-
clarify, is the motion for approval to advertise?
it's approval to advertise the ordinance as proposed.
It will then go to the Planning and Zoning Board, and it will come back to you at a future meeting.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your service. We appreciate that. And we'll,
Thank you for allowing
Aye.
me to speak.
all right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, that passes 5-0. We'll move on to advertising. Thank you, Dr. Holman. Moving then back to tab 15, Meg Brew, presentation as our Economic Development Director.
Good morning. For the record, Meg Brew, Director for the Office of Economic Development. I am here this morning to provide an overview of our Economic Development Recovery and Resiliency Plan. Perhaps. Here we go. While the sudden closure of Kroger this past November was the immediate catalyst for developing this plan, its intended use and application go far beyond any single event. Our goal for this plan is twofold. First, we wanted to establish a clear framework, or an SOP, if you will, for how Lake County responds to future economic disruptions. Documenting our response tactics, partners, and processes now ensures that we can act quickly, consistently, and effectively when other disruptions arise. Second, and more importantly, we wanted to create a long-term roadmap for building a stronger, more resilient community. It's important to emphasize that this is a living document. It will evolve as we learn, adapt, and continue to refine our approach. Developing and maintaining a resilient economy is long-term hard work that will require consistency and commitment. Our hope is that the bad news that we receive this fall can spur work that creates a long-term positive outcome for the community. To put it simply, this plan represents our best efforts at squeezing a little bit of lemonade out of the lemons that we were dealt. The recovery plan is organized into 4 parts, each addressing a different dimension of response, recovery, and resiliency. The first part of the plan really focuses on data and revolves around quantifying the economic impact of losing a major employer. We're working closely with regional partners to gather and analyze data so that our ongoing response remains informed, strategic, and impactful. The second part of the plan centers on the immediate response to this specific event. As I've shared at previous meetings, we approached this disruption with a very people-first mindset. Working with CareerSource Central Florida Lead and Kroger leadership, we hosted 3 on-site job fairs during the months of December and January, and I'm happy to share some of those numbers with you today. We had just under 700 employees who were connected with over 60 actively hiring employers at these events. Support agencies were also present to ensure employees were aware of available community resources, and one of our fairs even included a toy giveaway by a local charity organization to assure that Christmas remained merry and bright for the children of Kroger employees. Participants in the career fair expressed a deep appreciation for our proactive outreach, and as public servants, we were grateful for the opportunity to support our community through a difficult transition. Of course, our rapid response work did not end with the final job fair. CareerSource continues to engage laid-off workers, providing reemployment services, counseling, and individualized assistance. To date, 128 workers have attended one-on-one counseling sessions with CareerSource staff. Last month, the board approved our funding agreement with CareerSource to support upskilling and retraining for Lake County residents. And we have 60 residents currently in some stage of enrollment, and 17 have already begun training. CareerSource is currently conducting individual outreach with everybody who participated in the fair to monitor employment status and also make them aware of their eligibility for programs. We'll be tracking along very closely with the outcomes and sharing success stories and metrics with you in the community. We're also collaborating with the Orlando Economic Partnership right now to extract Lake County-specific insights from their recently published regional workforce report. This will help us understand which jobs are growing locally, which jobs residents are leaving the county to pursue, and what skills are currently most in demand. Once complete, this analysis will guide the development of clear career pathways connecting job seekers with education providers and industry partners. Additionally, our team has compiled a list of businesses that may have been indirectly affected by this closure and is beginning to conduct visits and interviews to better understand those impacts and craft an appropriate response if needed. The third part of the plan is really focused on the site itself. In many communities, when a major employer leaves, the building they leave behind is often outdated and requires significant reinvestment. The Kroger building is really an exception to this. It is a nearly new state-of-the-art turnkey building. We're working with LEAD to identify industry sectors that are a best fit for both the site and for Lake County's long-term economic goals. Our intention is to aggressively market the site to attract high-quality employers that can absorb some of the losses. The final and most important part of the plan is, of course, the resiliency piece. An important component of emergency management, as the other Megan would tell you, is evaluating vulnerabilities and implementing plans that account for and correct them. Likewise, we want to make sure that this disruption sets Lake County on a path towards a more resilient economic future. This begins with a resiliency audit to understand our current vulnerabilities to industry shifts, supply chain disruptions, and workforce gaps. We also want to identify opportunities for Lake County to be future ready and lean into emerging technologies, industries, and opportunities. This long-term work is being informed by case studies and recognized professional best practices. In March, Kathleen and I, along with a colleague from LEAD, attended the International Economic Development Council's Leadership Symposium in Washington, D.C. Prior to this conference, we reached out to IEDC leadership and asked to be connected with practitioners from around the country who had successfully navigated similar disruptions. The insights that we gained from these conversations were really invaluable and has helped inform our work moving forward. We also plan to leverage state and federal resources to support this work, and will be aggressively pursuing grants over the next fiscal year. To this end, our funding agreement with CareerSource did require that they leverage existing state funds prior to mobilizing any funds that we made available, so that we can extend the impact of each dollar to its greatest number of residents. Of course, a key component to the recovery plan is also evaluating our current economic development strategy and doubling down on what is already working. We are strengthening our business attraction efforts and partnering with LEAD to develop a new marketing campaign that clearly differentiates Lake County as someplace special. Our site readiness program is also being refreshed to identify and advance sites that are prepared to welcome targeted industries. Our incentive program remains an important tool in our economic development toolbox. One kind of silver lining over the past few months is that in terminating our incentive contracts with Kroger and Ocado, we were forced to really take a critical look at the effectiveness of our incentive programs. An analysis of tax dollars paid by Kroger and Ocado compared to incentives paid to Kroger and Ocado revealed that before any repayments occurred, the county had already realized a 600% return on investment. I don't know about you, but I have never made an investment with that good of a return. This reinforces the value of performance-based incentives when deployed strategically. We're also working alongside our entire development services team to streamline processes and reduce red tape for businesses of all sizes. Often the most meaningful incentive that we can offer to a business is assistance with speed to market. By coordinating every step of the commercial development process, we strengthen our business-friendly reputation and better serve our employers. Of course, small businesses remain the backbone of our economy. Truly resilient communities don't rely on one or two major employers or industries. We recognize that an important piece of our resiliency plan is having a diverse mix of small, medium, and large employers in Lake County representing various industries. Our entrepreneurial and small business support ecosystem, which includes LEAD, the SBDC, and the UCF Business Incubator, is working in close alignment to ensure that no small business is left behind. This year, we have also deepened our partnership with Senfluence and the Florida High Tech Corridor to assure that we have all of the right people at the table. Finally, we are committed to open, honest, and transparent public engagement. It's essential that our residents understand the importance of intentional economic development and feel confident that their voices are being heard. We are dedicated to nurturing a strong, resilient, and prosperous future for all of Lake County, and that will require public buy-in and support. We've already presented a version of our plan at the Lake Eustis Chamber meeting and for the South Lake Chamber's Economic Development and Public Policy Committee. We plan to continue to share the plan and, more importantly, the results with the board and the community. And with that, I am happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Okay, quick comment.
More just a comment. I appreciate the presentation, Meg. And again, we've talked about this several times before, but certainly appreciate you very much, you, Kathleen, everybody, your whole team, and getting through the Kroger incident, if you will. And appreciate you're just really out there in the community too. I will add, some of you know this, but you're really out there working economic development for us. It's awesome, relationship oriented. I think you're perfect for it. You mentioned this influence in the Florida High Tech Corridor. That's just something, again, that is really good for us. I know some of you know this, but that relationship, we're already starting to see some connections and some really good opportunities from this influence in Florida High Tech Corridor connection that you've helped foster. So really appreciate that.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
All right, good job.
Thank you, Meg.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right, annexation report, Mike Fitzgerald.
Good morning. For the record, Mike Fitzgerald. I'm the Office of Planning and Zoning Director. We have 2 annexations to report on today. The first one is one that we're revisiting. It was presented at the last meeting. This is a notice that was provided by the City of Claremont. We received a notice that Claremont is annexing 15.9 acres of land located west of U.S. Highway 27 east of Roper Boulevard. The site is developed with a Kohl's department store and the adjoining retention area, and this is an approved commercial site pursuant to the original PUD ordinance of 1994-110. They are proposing a commercial land use, and this is the aerial for the site. Claremont did provide information to staff to confirm that this is a voluntary annexation by the property owner.
So it's voluntary, and again, I brought this up last time, just to point out that it's part of a larger PUD. And when we're talking about roads, the roads, and I don't want to oppose the annexation, to make that clear, but it's just a thought here, again, as we move forward with all these discussions about who's doing what and JPAs and everything, those roads are still going to be on our dime to maintain. So it's just why not annex the rest of it? I get it, I understand. I know there'll be some net loss in revenue for the fire safety side, right? And then we go through those numbers, but it's all right. I mean, we don't have to go through that now, but it's just I'm pointing that out on the record that that's what's happening here, and it's voluntary, which it's good to know, so that you answered that question for me, and I appreciate that. But
Yes, sir. The application did specifically state that they are pursuing some unified city service, including police and fire service.
some unified,
They already received city utility service.
okay.
And the application was to unify the city service that they're getting, so utility, police, fire. That's straight off the application to Claremont.
Into further Coles, yeah, okay.
Correct.
All right.
So it was a PUD that had residential and then it had a commercial component? Is that how it was originally approved?
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It would, ideally, you would want to see it stay together, and if it were to be annexed, because you've got the residents as well having utilities through the city. But of course, I would assume the residents wouldn't want to pay the additional property taxes, so,
Probably not.
and they certainly don't
I
like,
just had to ask the question.
Yeah.
Because I know that,
just to put the facts out.
So they're gonna annex this, they're gonna take the fire MSTU away from us, and we still get to support the community behind it because it's not in the
Right.
city.
right.
That's just wonderful.
Yeah, and it's,
I mean, it's just,
yeah, and these are the kind of things we're, starting to really think about now and as we move forward, but there's not much to do right today, but it's just.
Well, it's not necessarily something you can do something about. It's really about everybody being, I hate to say, play by the rules, but there's a level of
they're taking our fire income basically away.
cooperation and collaboration between city and county governments, and you kind of hope that everybody, plays, I'm trying to, I know there's a word here, and I can't quite find the word. Maybe it's fairness, transparency. I mean, it's just,
Yeah, and, Claremont's gonna provide good fire service to Coles. We're gonna provide good EMS service as well, just to point that out.
right. Yeah.
And to the rest of the area too. Okay, thank you very much for tracking that down. You got one of the big questions answered, and the other one is just more food for thought, so appreciate that.
Okay. For the board's benefit, that city commission meeting is April 28th. So the next item is, we have received a notice from the city of Eustis that they are proposing to annex 18.03 acres located at 1539 North State Road 19. Property records show that a single-family residential home is currently located on the subject property, and the intent is to develop the property with 55 townhome units in accordance with the City of Eustis's regulations. Per the Lake County Solid Waste Department, these properties will remain on Lake County residential solid waste through September 30th, 2026. So the current Lake County zoning is residential professional. The proposed city is suburban neighborhood design district. Current flu is urban medium. Proposed city flu is urban residential. The city's flu is 6 to 12 units per acre, so the 55 townhome units puts them at the lower end of that land use density. This is the property aerial, and you can see the black hash marking is the city of Eustis, so this property is surrounded by the city.
Okay.
And if I can give the zoning and flu, this illustrates it a little better, how this is pretty much an enclave in the city of Eustis.
And I mean, the only access would be straight on to 19, right there.
Yeah, it's right there at the exit to the fairgrounds.
You mean it's near where 452 branches off?
Any type of access would be coordinated with DOT.
So it looks like a lot of the site is probably wetlands, and then there's the uplands in that area that's clear.
Yeah, just there's a little bit of uplands up on the north end of the property.
Yeah, I thought sorry, I did not include that map today.
Okay. I mean, the thing about it is that it is it looks like it's surrounded pretty much by the city.
That's a true.
Our density is 7 units to the acre. This is just a little bit above.
According to my math, the 55 units puts them at the lower end of that city future land use.
Of the city future land use, not too far off what our land use is.
Correct.
Below what we what we had, right?
The 6 to 12, yeah, if we are a medium density, which is up to 7 dwelling units per net acre, and their proposal is 6 to 12 dwelling units per acre. And at 55 units, 18 acres, I pulled out the wetland, and it looked like it was right at the lower end of their land use.
And that's before any of the engineering has been done or any of the site work.
That is correct, sir.
So
Excellent
it could
point.
certainly change drastically from there. Okay, thank you.
And what you mean is it could go down, I guess.
Yeah, correct, right. It could be more wetlands than what is perceived.
Land use is one thing, engineering reality is another.
Correct.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Public hearings, this is recommended adoption and execution of an ordinance. I'll call on the county attorney.
Okay, this will be an ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners of Lake County, Florida, creating Section 10900 Lake County Code, Appendix C, Land Development Regulations, to be entitled Relief Concerning Declared Emergency under Chapter 2025-190 Laws of Florida, addressing the provisions of Section 28, Chapter 2025-190 Laws of Florida, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in code, providing for filing with Department of State, and providing for an effective date. If you choose to approve it today, it will become Ordinance 2026-16.
All right, this is a public hearing. I'll open it up to the public. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak on this item? Do we have anyone online? Okay, we'll bring it back to the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, and just for discussion, I mean, this is a voluntary process.
Yeah,
Right.
it gives, we can proceed with what we have left of home rule, and that hasn't been preempted.
Feeling very defeated today,
And
aren't you?
then we can proceed with that, and then at the same time, if somebody's very adamant, it does provide the due process on the other side. If somebody feels very adamant, it actually gives them a tool to go through and start the process if they feel like it's being onerous to them in light of the Senate Bill 180.
And just for purposes of the record, we have received 0 complaints or claims that any of our ordinances have violated Senate Bill 180. So I don't foresee it being used, but it is available if something comes up in the future.
I mean, the only time it was raised is by the state, as opposed to somebody who would actually have an interest in claiming that they were being burdened.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so we had a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes 5-0. Moving then to tab 17. This is regarding a vacation of right-of-way easement. Jeff?
Morning, Jeff Earhart, Public Works Engineering. This is a vacation petition that you previously heard, 1310. It's in the Groveland area. It's right near Mount Vista, Pine Island, and Red Wing, down in the south portion. It's related to the proposed vacation is in the red on the graphic shown. As we zoom in, this is the one where we originally came to before you, and we wanted to maintain 33 feet on Red Wing, and the applicant wanted to maintain 25. They've since come back and agreed to leave the 30 feet, and then we're willing to vacate all the rest that's in red, because that just kind of, it makes sense and allows us to have consistent right-of-way along Red Wing. So I think the lawyer and the owner is here. I'm not sure if they need to talk, but they're available when there's any questions. So I'll.
Move approval.
Okay, it is a public hearing, so I do need to open it up for the public. Do we have anyone online? Anyone in the public that wishes to speak? All right, and we do have a motion in a second.
Second.
All right, for approval, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes 5-0. We appreciate Mr. Bailey and his cooperation, and I think it's good for that overall community to have that consistent right-of-way, so we appreciate your cooperation, and we wish you all the best. All right, thank you. Okay, moving then along to, this is tab 19 regarding the school district.
So this is a request to advertise an ordinance, the school district under section 1011.73 is authorized to direct the county commission to place a referendum on the ballot in November. This is related to the security and mental health tax that was put in place after Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. So they are asking to re-up it instead of 3/4 of a mil. They're asking for a mil, but again, this would strictly be approval to advertise. It will come back for public hearing. All you're doing is putting it on the ballot as allowed by the statute. Voters will have the ultimate say.
Okay, so we've been requested by the school district to put this on the ballot.
Correct. So this is approval to advertise. It will come back at the next meeting for adoption of the ordinance, and then it will be sent to the supervisor of elections, and he will put that on the ballot in November.
Okay, all right. So we're not endorsing it or any of that. We're just doing what we are required to do by law.
Correct.
All right. And in the past, this was adopted previously, and it
Correct.
funds the school resource
It's a renewal.
officers. And yeah.
For the record, they're asking for higher authority for millage this time. Last time it was 0.75, this time it's 1.
That's correct.
Yeah, so they're going to need to make that case to the public and let people know what it covers. All right, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
That passes 4-1. And I would just ask Commissioner Sabatini, if you do talk about it on social media, at least tell everybody what the situation is.
Yeah, for the record, I'm not going to make a post about this, so I'm not going to talk about it, because the law is clear. Unfortunately, it has been litigated. It did get to the appellate level. It was 2 trial decisions, 1 appellate. It is not discretionary. We have to advertise it. But I still would rather force them to work harder to get the process in play, because I think it's unjustified, personally. Having gone to public school like everybody else on this dais in Lake County, I don't think it's justified. So I think that it needed to be notated. But I will not be talking about this in the context of our role.
All right. And I'll just, note and acknowledge that we're just following what we're required to do. We already voted. We're moving along then to Mike Fitzgerald, a presentation on minimum lot size, road frontage, landscape buffer for public roads for residential development.
Thank you, Chairman. For the record, Mike Fitzgerald. I'm the Office of Planning and Zoning Director. Just a little background on this item. On January 6th, 2026, the Board of County Commissioners directed staff to look at the possibility of updating the land development regulations to require a minimum lot width of 65 feet in Lake County, and also look at the landscape buffering that is required fronting county roads. With that said, The current code, we're looking at establishing a minimum landscape buffer. Any parcel adjacent to a public right-of-way now requires, when it is developed, to have a Type A landscape buffer, and that has a range of widths from 10 to 15 to 20 feet. The current regulation does not specify specifically what that width should be, so today's discussion is the proposal for that minimum width to be spelled out in our regulation to specifically be at the 20-foot width for development along those county right-of-ways. This illustrates the buffer A standard. As you can see, as discussed, it is a 10, 15, or 20 feet, and then it has landscape requirements pursuant to each width. So we are now just spelling out that when you do develop, you have to put that Type A abutting that right-of-way. So this would, moving on to the lot width presentation. This is for the road frontage of the lots. Currently, we regulate the minimum road frontage of lots. We don't have any minimum standards for planned unit development districts, no minimum lot size for zoning districts, no minimum lot width for the zoning districts. The requested action is to potentially amend the minimum required lot frontage to 65 feet, establish a minimum lot width of 65 feet, minimum lot size of 6,500 square feet, and that will apply to all newly approved proposals in Lake County. It will not be retroactive. There are certain specified exceptions. Specifically, it would be if you have already received an approval by the Board of County Commissioners. This rule is not retroactive. Wellness Way is an example. Joint planning areas are another example. Any approved PUD prior to today or prior to the execution of this ordinance, any residential development going forward would be required to adhere to this requirement. Current residential lot standards, we do have lot widths pursuant to each zoning district, or road frontage, I should say, but we don't have the lot width, the minimum lot width. So all residential lots created after June 1st shall have an amended road frontage and right-of-way width and a lot size according to our table. And that would be amending the road frontages to a minimum of 65 feet. So now you have that minimum road frontage. But it also means a minimum lot width of 65 feet. So you can't have a road frontage of 65 feet and then taper it back to a point where you have no width in the backyard. So we're looking at a minimum lot width of 65 feet across the entire lot, as well as the road frontage, and then a minimum lot size of 6,500 square feet. So staff did just a cursory review of what that would mean for a basic 50-acre lot. If you assume open space of 25% in an urban low density, and then there's an assumption of 20% of your development goes to infrastructure. With the square foot that's left over, if you had 4,000 square foot lots, you would get your maximum density. 5,000 square foot lots, you would get your maximum density. With a 6,500 square foot lot, you would lose some of that density. Moving on to urban medium, you have an open space requirement now of 20%, an assumption of right-of-way requirement of 20% as well, a total maximum allowable development of 350 units. At 4,000 square feet, you have 327, 5,000 is 261, 6,500 is 201. So the density starts to pare down the bigger the lot size is. Just moving on to urban high, same kind of assumptions. The acreage is 50 acres. Open space now is 15% in an urban high density. The right-of-way still remains at 20%. 4,000 square feet is 354. 5,000 is 283 lots. 6,500 would put it at 218 lots. What that means for a PUD that's coming in is that the developer is going to want to maximize their number of units as much as they can. So the less single-family lots you have in a proposed PUD, the more multifamily they're going to propose. So a 40-foot wide frontage, this gives an idea, a conceptual idea of what those homes look like, very garage dominated. A 50-foot frontage is the same. It's limiting the floor plans and the facade, still a garage dominated feature. Whereas 65-foot minimum lot widths now provides a wider lot width that offers more of a street presence, an elevation design, and just more of a ranch-style home, you could say. With that said, I'm happy to answer any questions.
So your comment, though, was I don't know if you'd call it an unintended consequence, but the consequence could be that they would actually, in order to get their land use designation density, they would use multifamily as opposed to tiny lots.
That is an assumption that can be made for a PUD that's coming in, that's looking for a mixed use. The less lots they can get with the amount of square footage that they have left over, they may start pushing more of that into a multifamily development. That's an assumption that staff is making for discussion.
And visually, one could argue, though, that when that happens, that it might actually be more attractive to have that end product as opposed to a whole bunch of teeny tiny lots. I mean, I've heard people argue that point before, that, you know, if you have wider lots, at least your single-family product has this more appealing curb appeal, and it just...
I can just tell you from past experience, the city of Tavares used to have a 40-foot minimum. It was changed to 65-foot lot sizes. It made no increase in multifamily units, and it just made the neighborhoods a lot nicer from that point forward, utilizing 65-foot lot lines. Just because you have a 65-foot lot line doesn't mean you have to have a house this big. You can actually have a smaller house with bigger yards. So,
Okay, that's a good
they're
argument.
wanting to live in Lake County, we need to say, hey, this is what Lake County requires. If you want to live in an urban area, then move into the urban area into a city. But if you want to live in Lake County, 65-foot lot lines.
You ready for my comments?
Yes.
I will pare some of my comments down. I have a lot of concerns with part of this. Not saying that maybe this isn't something we can do, meaning the lot size. The buffer, totally supportive of that part of the change, the type A buffer. I would go a step further. I think that should be native plants, with the exception of you have entryways and things like that I know are going to be Florida-friendly. We could define that in the code, I think, quite easily. So I think that is a great idea. Regarding the lot size, so my concerns are this. And if you could put, I sent a picture in, I want to share with you. I mean, so again, I'll say it may not necessarily be a bad idea, it's just we need to think about a few things. The one-size-fits-all approach is totally, nobody recommends that anymore, just focusing in on lot size as a way to control urban sprawl. And we are trying to control urban sprawl for our own lives, literally, in Lake County, so it is the top concern. Everything we do is try to get a hold of implement a better growth management system. So I don't want to do something that's maybe it's just a one-size-fits-all category and assume it's going to work out. I think the whole code needs to be changed, and then maybe we look at lot size as well. This is an example. This is in Lehigh Acres. So what they did with a one-size approach was they said quarter-acre and half-acre lots throughout 50 square miles. And as you can tell, it really did not do anything to prohibit urban sprawl. I would be more interested in changing the code entirely, requiring more open space if we were going to do a 65-foot lot. And by the way, the 40-foot lots, if you have alley loaded, and there's alleys behind them, you get more of that traditional looking neighborhood that's more, actually kind of more attractive, more what they would call the traditional neighborhood development. So I would be for changing the code, like maybe wholesale, changing the code. I'd also be interested in seeing a map of where this will actually be implemented. I appreciate you pulling out Wellness Way and some of the PUDs and things like that, but I'd like to see where it would actually apply as well moving forward. And I think that if I read the comprehensive plan correctly, we're also going to have to do a housing analysis on how you'll actually have to do a housing study to determine how it will affect housing affordability. I think that's a requirement in our comp plan. So we'll need to see that, I think, before we adopt anything, because things like this could and unintentionally, and nobody wants to see this in the urban sprawl. Things like this could unintentionally actually encourage the sprawl. So I just want to, before we do that, I'd want to make sure that it's not going to encourage that, and then it's addressing I think just whether you like it or not, it's a requirement. I think we're going to have to do a housing affordability study on it. And then I would look at other parts of the code, like could we increase open space, make the open space requirement, might be a better way to go about this, so.
So can I make a comment on that? The 65-foot, and you're right, this certainly could be bad, but you got to remember that we also have in there what I'm talking about took out the PUD process, and if you have a development more than 49 homes, you got to go through that PUD process, so it's up to us anyway. This is for any of the developments below 49 homes, and it's just, if you want to live in Lake County, you got to have 65-foot lots.
Is that true, though?
I'm just looking at,
My understanding was the direction for 65 feet wide across the board.
So if we're gonna make
Correct,
it on-
Including new
correct,
pubs.
but you pulled out PUDs, right?
Already approved PUDs.
Already approved,
Okay.
not future.
That have been granted.
So if you want to
vested
pull
rights.
that out, then it would give you the flexibility that Commissioner Parks is talking about.
Well, I still am going with, if you want to live in Lake County, you got to have 65 feet. It's got to fit within, we're still going to have that PUD process where they have to come through at 65-foot wide lots. So we still have an opportunity to look at the neighborhood. If you want to live in a more urban area, move into the city of Eustis, Tavares, Mount Dora, Umatilla, Claremont, Mineola, but if you want to live in Lake County, it's going to be 65 foot or more.
I think in Umatilla, they went to 75, just so you know.
yeah, and
I kind of didn't want to take Umatilla back, but
No, but
Umatilla,
yeah, they said, I
Right.
think they put a 75-foot wide lot.
so I only see positives in this, no negatives.
I mean, I think you could see, I think you could also look at various zoning types where you, understandably, like in an A140 or an RA zoning district, yeah, you might want to have a larger minimum lot size. I could see that as well. That's why I think the map might be more helpful, but I would not be, just in my experience and what I know, I would not be, like right now, so quick to just approve that part of it. I'd want to see some other code changes as well, I think, that could be done.
But would you not prefer to at least make something better while you're working on the
Well, I don't know if
larger?
I'm not sure if it'll necessarily make things better. I think it might be a feel-good thing to say it, but I just don't, I could be wrong. I'm keeping an open mind on it. I'd want to see some other code changes with it as well. I think that's a part of it. Personally, I think that's a bigger problem.
Okay, I do need clarification, though, on this PUD thing, because just so, we've got to be clear, the way that this is being proposed, if a new PUD came in, there's no lowering the 65-foot width. And I kind of thought when you started this was more like, if you come with a straight zoning and it's 49 lots or less, or 50 or less, no, 49 or less, then yeah, it's got to be 65-foot wide lots.
That was original, but I wouldn't mind even having a PUD have a minimum lot size of 65 feet. Again, you're moving into Lake County, which is, we need to start thinking about this as, you're moving into county services, you're not gonna get the roads that the city has, you're not gonna get all the extras that cities have because you don't pay the taxes that the cities put on top of the county. So if you want to live in Lake County, live on bigger pieces of property. Understanding that.
Yeah, but again, I mean, so that would be more of a problem. If you can't, you could have, I could see scenarios where you have PUDs, where maybe you do have some clustering that's less than 65 foot. You have a much larger open space area, and that's, when it comes to, I know we get focused on density and lot size. I see it all over the state. But there's more to growth management than just density and lot size. There's open space, there's buffering, there's some, whatever the state will allow us now to do with some design, basic design criteria. That's more of what your everyday citizen, when they see the problems with growth management that they're looking at. So if you want to protect, there could be scenarios, maybe it won't, like I said, I'm trying to remain open, maybe it won't be an issue, but I think it could be, and I'm just not there yet with it.
And I think what we're doing is we're going through the comp plan now, and then it comes to our LDRs later, right? So
That's correct.
staff just needs direction on where to go with this.
Okay.
To try to meet up with the, I'm trying to understand where staff is going with this. Staff needs a direction on whether to include the 65 in the LDRs or no?
That's correct. Staff is here to receive direction on moving forward with an ordinance that would propose a minimum lot width of 65 feet across the board in Lake County.
In support of starting that right now. I understand that you have bigger, you want it to be a holistic approach. I like the idea of one step at a time. I think putting that in the ordinances right now is a great way to start.
So what about pocket neighborhoods? Thinking back to Josh Blake and the whole pocket neighborhood where you're trying to take like something that's an infill and you're trying to make something that's unique. Is there a way to carve that out? So, I mean, it's really, you could do something different if you truly were doing like a little pocket neighborhood? Just because rarely does it come up. It would usually be more in a city setting that would come up. But, I hate to shut the door on something like that where somebody's trying to be really creative and they're working with a, like a,
In the case of a
Infill.
pocket neighborhood, making the assumption that we had the 65-foot width in our LDR, a pocket neighborhood would come in and be designed as a site plan, same way as a multifamily project would be. And then in order for the individuals to purchase the home, it would have to be, for example, a condo plat.
Okay.
Where the homes themselves are platted as condos, and then all the ground around those homes would be common area.
okay, so we have a way to do it if it were to come up and it wouldn't fall under this.
Or just include a clause in here that says if they have a pocket neighborhood concept, broadly defined, they're allowed to ask the board for discretion to.
Or but it comes under a site plan, so it literally doesn't come under this scenario, I don't think. I think we've got a way to get there, based on what you said.
That's one path.
And maybe maybe Melanie can help us with some language that would,
Or the pocket neighborhoods would be if there was just rental housing, then it would just be a site plan. No one owns the building or the land, it's just one single ownership. They own the buildings and the land and they maintain it, and it's just a rental situation.
Melanie, is this a votable action or is it just consensus?
this is just direction.
It's direction on how you want us to move forward. But keep in mind too, that because these are minimums, that doesn't prohibit somebody from seeking a variance from the Board of Adjustment.
Okay, all right, and that's one other way for some flexibility. I want to go back to the buffers. I just want to make sure I understand, because I feel like a lot of it has to do with how much landscape material is there.
Can we go back to the screen that has the type A buffer?
I mean, my preference has always been if there was a way to actually, if there's a vegetated property, that you actually utilize what's already vegetated as your buffer, and provided it's not invasive, but you're using hardwoods or whatever is there. I mean, even pine trees make nice buffers, right? So is there a way to incentivize keeping what's there, or even so that you're better off using what's there as opposed to taking it all out? I mean, can we prohibit them taking it all out? I mean, is there some way that could be incorporated?
Well, when they do their tree survey, they have to tell us where the protected trees are and the heritage trees. We can work with the developers in terms of how much protection they want to have in their buffers. It's to their benefit anyway, because they don't have to purchase the landscaping to.
I know it's in their benefit, but they never do it. So, you know what I mean? It's like if it's not a heritage tree, but it's already, it's nice and it's thick and it's existing, it seems like that should stay. Other places in this country do that. I don't know whether developers choose to because it makes sense for them. In Florida, they just don't. I feel like there are other places in Florida that have done this where if you've got mature trees, that you leave those intact for your buffer areas.
Well, they clear most right up to the right-of-way line.
Usually, and that's what I was hoping that we could get away from.
Yeah,
with
it should be.
something like this.
I mean, I like that too, but again, landscaping it, keep the trees, tree survey would be available, although there's some trees that maybe could go, but a different story. But they should plant. I mean, there could be a vegetative buffer that's planted as well with native trees and shrubs.
So in this type A, you could have a 5-foot as long as you had a solid wall? Is that basically what it says?
Yes, ma'am. If you put up a wall, you can have as little as 5 feet. That's why this ordinance would require that 20-foot width at a minimum.
Yeah, that's.
So no matter what, you
that's
would have to have
suburbia.
20 feet with this
Where
change.
it abuts a county right-of-way.
Yeah. And that 5-foot wall, that's suburbia, in my opinion. I know
Well-
it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but that's where you see.
Is that 5 foot of vegetation and a 6-foot wall?
Just the 6-foot wall.
Okay.
There are other codes that are
We have a
far
lot of
better.
work to do with our LDRs.
Why don't we just take a good one and just,
Well, yeah, and that's to my point about the.
They're in
other
Lake
issue.
County, right?
right? Commissioner Parks?
I mean, well, no, I would completely redo that. That's why I think, like the previous discussion, I would redo LDRs. And I think there is.
But I want to
within-
make
wi-
progress. I
within-
don't want.
No, I mean, I think, I mean, look, I'm exaggerating just a little bit, I'm being facetious a little bit, but I think you could make a lot of changes in a short period of time, and, like within 2 weeks, and bring it forward. It might change some when we go through the comp plan
Right.
process. We have to realize
But
that.
at least we get something better in place while
Yeah,
we're
with-
waiting to
with
go
a
through
lot
that
of
whole
these,
process.
yeah.
So could our direction be that we're looking for something that would preserve the current vegetation, encourage the use of native vegetation, and be at a minimum, has to be 20 feet wide? And then Commissioner Parks, you could look at this language and maybe come up with a way that, right at your entrance, if you want to add additional vegetation to enhance the look of your entranceway, that's fine. But we want you to at least keep what you've already got. You can add to it, but we don't want you taking mature pine trees out when your 20-foot buffer already has pine trees in it, or it already has some hardwoods in it, even if they're not heritage trees. I mean, if it's growing and it exists, we should be promoting keeping that. That kind of goes hand in hand with this whole wildlife corridor thing, too, leaving the natural stuff in place.
Unless it's deemed to cause danger to the structure or a structure.
That applies to private residential property.
Right.
It does not apply to common area. The buffer would be a common area.
Okay.
But if this is, we're developing from scratch, they would take out any trees that were dead or dying.
If they're dying, right?
Well, if you want my 2 cents, I say go move forward with 65 foots and working on the.
Work on this and
buffer.
bring it back?
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, and I'll just say that, I'm very, very skeptical of it. I think there needs to be more changes. I would really caution you that if you want to nail growth, the growth management issue, look at open space more than anything.
And I would say, thank you for that, but go ahead and talk to the city of Tavares and see how much it's helped them.
Yeah, well, I know, the cities that's part of it too.
And if you
but I
want,
can
put
only
your open
focus
space
on.
in the front of the neighborhood, so if you're on the road and you see the neighborhood, what you really see is the open space. And
Well,
then
could be.
put the houses back there.
Could be, I just think we need to look at that. So I'm pretty skeptical on that. I do think you're going to have to do a housing analysis, though.
So we'll split this apart into separate ordinances.
Yeah.
The landscaping would be a little quicker than a housing analysis.
Right. And I can come up with a few other ones too, open space and.
I'm not quite sure I understand the housing
I would like to
analysis.
see it all together.
I'm just saying the
Do it
housing
all together.
analysis I know is going to be required in the comp plan. Whether you like that or not, I just think that's going to be, when I read through the comp plan, that's what I interpret it to be. But maybe you'll think
We can take a look at that.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say work on them all together so we can get it done as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Instead of kicking the can down the road, let's kick the can through the goalpost and get it done.
Just for clarification, Commissioner Parks, were you proposing an increase in open space in addition to the 65-foot width?
I think.
That would
Once it is an
that would further
alternative.
cut down the developable property.
I think, let me just say, it's more important, I think, when the growth management concerns, I think open space is more important. And again, we're gonna have a discussion on this, but very few people across the state, counties and cities, some have narrowed in, especially the small towns, to the minimum lot size as their tool to control growth. But most counties are not doing that. They're going more towards, rewriting codes and hybrid form-based codes and things like that to better address growth management, so.
May I ask what the board's position is on a percentage increase?
No, the my position is go with what you have in front of us, the 65-foot lot lines
Yeah,
and
I
the
think-
buffer with some.
I think it's a good
Percentage
point,
increase for the open space.
Keeping in mind that we need a holistic approach. I'm all about one step at a time.
If you can come up with some alternative either-or scenario that I think will work for me, I'm just speaking for myself, based off, my experience and who I talk to, then great. If not,
Yeah, I like the idea of a larger lot width, larger lots, and I think the entranceway and the buffers along the roads are critical. I think what people are so tired of seeing is the really cookie cutter looking teeny tiny lots all crammed up against the road, no vegetative buffer. And I think the other thing that really bothers people, and it really bothers me, is when they clear cut the whole property, totally flatten it, bring in topsoil that has no nutrients, no ability to maintain the new vegetation they plant.
Right.
And to me, that's like one of the big things that we could do to actually improve the process is,
sterile soils, everything.
And we
Yeah.
started working on that with our heritage tree protection thing we just approved, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so they can't just go out and mow down all the trees, so they have to
Well, they
work
can't.
around it.
yeah, but they'll mow down everything else, just not the heritage
That's
trees.
true.
That was just a clarification on the heritage trees. If you really want to get serious.
But we are trying our best to preserve Lake County.
Yeah, if you want to get serious about that, I think you need to it goes back to open space, and you would identify areas that not only have heritage trees, but maybe have some other natural habitats or somewhat natural habitats, and maybe require that be included in the site plan for protection as part of the open space.
Yeah, and that might be a way to find some sort of compromise between this position and that position, is that if you were to maintain your, some natural zones, and you do that as part of your open space, that then you could propose some flexibility through lot size. Maybe you could come up with something like that. I just want to see some natural areas preserved instead of these areas just completely whole scale, bulldozed, except for the heritage trees.
I agree 100% because we're in Lake County, right?
It sounds like we're describing rural conservation subdivision.
Yeah.
Can you throw in
More of
that they don't change the
Are you
contours,
thoroughly
the natural
confused?
contours of the land? Can you throw in something about following contours of the land?
We do have a maximum amount of cut that they can do on a property before they begin to be considered a sand mine.
Right, I just don't know if that goes far enough to actually allowing the lay of the land to remain, as opposed to just you can't take any more than,
You can't take any more than 200% of what the requirement is for your storm ponds. If you exceed that, you you become a sand mine.
Okay, I just feel like there might be a little bit more detail in there that would just say, just like you're preserving open spaces, you're preserving certain areas that just stay naturally contoured, as opposed to, but you can still take this much off. What about a percentage of the property staying contoured? Or again, that being something that could be negotiated with in return for clustering? As long as if your buffers are far enough back and you have natural areas, you can do a lot to make a property more natural than just saying 65-foot lots. So I know where he's coming from. I just think there might be a way where you could use that as the way, you could write it in a way that it would promote more natural spaces as opposed to just larger lots.
I'm okay with more natural spaces and larger lots.
All right.
Hey, gum, we're in Lake County.
All right, so let's see what you come back in a couple weeks with, and we'll beat it to death again.
Just to remind the board, the concern is the reduction of the number of units for the land uses that are already assigned.
Yeah. And then we just have to figure out how, and we've got our little, this ordinance that we worked on today, right? The 180 process, if somebody doesn't like it, and how they could bring that forward to us.
I just want to know one thing, Mike. Is this clear as mud to you now?
It is, that's planning and zoning.
Okay, so for confirmation, I think we've got it, but I think for confirmation, we're working on the 65-foot lots, retaining as much natural vegetation and contouring as possible, and moving forward with 2 bifurcated ordinances, one for the buffering and one for the lot size. Okay.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Okay, moving then to tab 21 regarding FEMA. I'll be right back.
Make sure everyone can hear me. Good morning, Commissioners. So, Carl Bursa, nice to see you folks again. This is my first time addressing you as a member of the Parks and Water Resources staff. I am now the Operations Manager of Water Resources, and I'm still your floodplain administrator. So I'm coming to you today with an update to the CRS program. I guess the benefit of being last is, at least in theory, everyone should be happy to see me. So this is just a real brief rundown here of what we'll be discussing. We'll be discussing the National Flood Insurance Program insurance, the CRS program, and the benefits of the flood insurance, Lake County's current CRS status, and then the current status of the program. So a lot of you have seen this before, so I'll be brief. The NFIP was established in 1968, and it requires participants to follow federal floodplain management regulations. It is basically how we offer flood insurance to folks who need flood insurance for their federal mortgages, and it also is essential for us to get hazard mitigation and basically any kind of disaster relief. So Lake County joined the NFIP in 1982, and we received our first firms in April of that same year. Our current flood insurance rate maps have been in place since 2012. And again, publicly available, the NFIP is publicly available for all communities and legal non-conforming pre-firm structures. It is not, NFIP insurance is not included in basic homeowners insurance. So if you do need flood insurance as a part of your federally backed mortgage, you're required to purchase it through the NFIP, or you have to go with the private insurance, and in that case, it can get a little expensive depending on the age and the quality of the structure. So the Community Rating System program is a program which offers discounts to flood insurance, and as you can see, there are more than 1,500 communities that are participating nationwide. There are 244 communities participating in Florida. These numbers are a little old. They have not provided us with recent updates, but we're hoping to get those relatively soon. So Lake County is still currently a CRS Class 7 community. We recently completed our 5-year cycle visit, and the person who was in charge of that cycle visit was very complimentary of our status and what we've done, and they went ahead and they scored us, and we got scored enough to go up to a Class 6. So that will increase everyone's flood insurance, or their flood insurance discount who has NFIP-backed flood insurance from 15 to 20%. There are a couple of programs that are in place that we have an opportunity to get into. If we're able to do that, we have an opportunity to increase our class again. It'll take a little bit of time, but it's something that that's been on my radar to try to get done. So at issue right now, the current contract for the company that is managing the CRS has been placed on inactive status. It's not canceled. There's a hubbub a while back that everyone, in March, where everyone was saying, oh, it's been canceled, it's been canceled. It's not been canceled. It's been rendered inactive. What that means, and again, I spoke to the folks about this, is that this basically means that with inactive status, everything is paused. So we were supposed to go through I'll get to that in a second, but at that point in time, due to this change, no movement can occur anywhere in the CRS program. So as I was getting ready to say, our class improvement, which was scheduled to take effect on October 1st of this year, has been put on hold. That hold is indefinite until whatever action they're going to take on the contract gets done. In addition to that, not just for Lake County, but for nationwide, there are anybody who was in the program who had a class upgrade that they were looking to do is on hold. Any new applicants, and there were several hundred, they're on hold. So we're kind of stuck here waiting on what goes on here. The program is in effect, and all reporting requirements are in effect. So basically, I can't get anybody any more savings, but I still have to have all my paperwork in order. So at this point, staff is asking for the commission to have us issue letters of support from Lake County BCC to our federal legislative delegation and FEMA that they resume the funding for this CRS program. And again, that's something that if we can get that back in order fast, it will keep us on that October 1st timeline, which will help save everybody a little bit more money on their NFIP flood insurance.
Move to approve the recommendation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay, and just for the record, Chair Campione stepped out for a moment, so I'm filling in as the role of Vice Chair for the minutes. You know that, obviously. Are there any questions? I'm just making sure that everybody that's listening knows.
Yes, sir.
So is there any questions, any discussion on the motion? Great job. I appreciate the presentation and good work.
Mr. Vice Chair.
All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none. That passes unanimously. That's and just in time. Okay.
Thank you, folks, so much.
We'll now hand it back over to the chair.
All right, I listened to the whole discussion and appreciate it, Carl. Moving ahead then to tab 22. This is a recommend approval to appoint a member to the Well Florida Council as a Lake County provider.
Yeah. Question.
2 applications received. There's only 1 position available. We have one for Christopher Gonzalez and one for Juana Dela Cruz.
Chair, this is District 2, so I would like a little more time to go over this, and if it's not going to pose a problem to staff, I would like to table this. I just want to do a little more research on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, but I will say also, very late applicant, not from the district, so it's your choice. Obviously, I'll defer to you, is Colleen Wallace. She's a medical professional in North Lake County. She's been wanting to be on there for a little bit. She just recently applied, so I hope that the board, or Sean specifically, will consider her.
Okay, we'll put.
I don't know if you've met her yet, but she's been very involved in the community. She's very professional, very well liked. I think she's very eager to be on there. To me, that's always a sign that they're going to do a good job. So something to consider, Colleen Wallace, and she's in a different district. I don't know if there's 2 openings or just 1, but something, just, maybe a conversation with her would be great. And then but whoever you choose, obviously.
No, I appreciate that. Maybe since if we table this, I can look at that application as well. Staff has that. They can send it to me.
So is it by district or is it by the type of position? Because it says Lake County provider position, so it's someone who is a provider of medical services?
Yeah, I don't think it's based on district, but it's not a county board, it's a state board.
State board.
We recommend they finalize it. Is that how it works? Or?
I think so, yes.
And it would be someone who is a provider? Okay.
Okay, all right,
So
well,
let's-
that clarifies, and can we still table with those?
No, I think it's worthy if you've got people who are very interested, and let's look at who's the people that are asking and then go from there. Okay, so
And-
we're going to table it?
Commissioner, I'm sorry, did you say that Ms. Wallace has already applied?
I think she just applied last week.
Okay, so what I can do is send that application to all 5 of you to review, and then we'll bring it back at the 28th meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, then tab 23, this is a recommend approval to appoint a member to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. The resident is a concerned citizen for affordable housing, Don Spivey. Unless otherwise listed here, and the applicant is not a current member of the board. And of course, Commissioner Morse is the liaison, and you would need a waiver as well if we recommend approval for Don Spivey.
Move to approve.
Okay,
Second.
and that includes the waiver. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Don is a good guy.
That passes unanimously, 4-0. And then we're moving on to reports. County Attorney report? County Manager report?
No report.
Commissioner Sabatini?
No report other than just sessions coming back up. They're still going to finalize the budget and continue to advocate for reform of SB 180, which I think will be a topic alongside the budget. That's all.
Commissioner Parks?
Yeah, 2 items, and if you could put the photo up, there we go. 2 things. So one, I'll start off first with Claremont. I'm going to give Claremont a huge compliment, shout out, whatever we're calling it, to a project in downtown Claremont, redoing the entire streetscape in all native plants, completely 100% native. I was blessed with the opportunity to donate my time to do the design, but I will give Cherry Lake a lot of credit because Cherry Lake, a local business, had a lot of input. They have a lot of knowledge. They're also going to be maintaining it for several years, and it is way under what a typical streetscape budget cost, by the way, people have asked. And it'll be much more maintenance-free, and it'll be leadership by example of promoting Florida native plants. So really, you'll probably hear the news about that coming out soon. Just want to thank Claremont. That's awesome leadership. That's a great example they're doing. Sort of ties into my next point. We have the Wellness Way meetings that Kathleen and Meg and Richard and the City of Claremont we put on so well, to not only go over the tactical aspects of Wellness Way, but then the strategic focus, again, putting job centers on the map, as you know, and then also respecting people, place, and environment. This last meeting, we had the Florida Wildlife Corridor come in and make a presentation, of course, again, as a reminder and a little more detail about why some parts of Wellness Way and the plan requirements that are important, including the recent landscape design standards for Wellness Way. So I want to point out this map, which I thought was super, super impactful, and I think Lake County would find very interesting. If you go to the next one, the circles that you see, so you know there's I-4 that's running diagonal, and then 27, and then you see where Wellness Way is in Lake County to the east of Highway 27, where the first star is on the top of the map. The stars represent the remaining opportunities. They're actually connection points to the Green Swamp from the Everglades headwaters. So literally this area, this is very poignant if you're into this kind of stuff like I am. This is literally the one area where wildlife, panthers, bears, go from South Florida to North Florida, all the way up to the Panhandle. They pass through this area. That's why this area is super important. You'll see the circled areas were opportunities for connections for the wildlife to get underneath I-4, which is the major barrier. It kills all wildlife unless they go underneath or fly over. You'll see that the one in the middle circle, is now gone. We got the news on that. That is all built out. That's down 27 in Polk County. There's no connection point across 27 for wildlife from the Everglades headwaters. There is only 2 left, the one at the top, which is Wellness Way, and the one at the bottom there. So you see why this is really important, and we're trying to be corridor compatible with all our design standards to promote that, literally through that final pinch point at the top where the star is, where there's a G, and that's where you'll have bears and panthers move, probably not as frequently as you might think, but they will. And if you're into this and protecting our species, that's why this part and what we do in all Wellness Way is of extreme importance. So I want to thank Florida Wildlife Corridor, Meg and Kathleen. I think it was your idea to bring them in and do the presentation. I saw a lot of eyes being opened and people understanding and grasping what was going on, so I thought it was a pretty cool opportunity. Which leads me into my final point, or just update for you. I have been blessed and invited to be part of the Florida Wildlife Corridor trek, as they call it. They do these treks every couple years. There's maybe been 3 or 4. It started with the 1,000-mile green thread. They do great productions. They get picked up by National Geographic. So it's a wonderful way to showcase what the state is doing to protect the Florida Wildlife Corridor. They're taking, this particular one, they're taking 4 elected officials, the first time they've ever done it. There's a little bit of, really you want to do that kind of thing, but it's important because now we're, what we're trying to do across the state, policy will matter. And Florida Wildlife Corridor, of course, works wonderful with all of property owners and agriculture, ranchers, to promote that Florida Wildlife Corridor. Is about 10 million acres. We have about 18 million acres to protect the Florida Wildlife Corridor in its entirety. There's about 54 million acres, or maybe close to 60 million acres total in the state. So it kind of put that in perspective. This trek is, I'll be doing with the Florida Wildlife Corridor for a week. There's a commissioner from Polk County, me from Lake, then we have a commissioner from Leon County and a city councilwoman from city of Tallahassee. I think if you're into this counting, it's 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. That doesn't really matter because we're seeing great unification on this issue across the state of Florida, and this will be a wonderful chance to promote the corridor, being corridor compatible. So I encourage you to, anybody that's listening, all commissioners, pick up that book. I know it's long, maybe a little bit dry, but it's important what's in the Corridor Compatible Communities book as well. And I think this will be a good opportunity to showcase Lake County as well. So I haven't I slept in a tent in a few years, so it's going to be interesting as we go 150 miles from the Red Hills in Thomasville, Georgia, all the way down to the lighthouse at St. Vincent Island. We'll have people from Tallahassee, elected officials, the legislator, maybe not doing the journey with us, but checking in on us. We have the state of Texas, the state of Georgia, and the state of Alabama all very interested in what's going on in Florida, so they'll be watching this and be a part of it as well. So I'm excited. I'll give you a full report next week if I make it back.
Yeah, when do you leave, did you say? When?
On Sunday.
On Sunday.
Yeah.
So are you walking 150 miles?
I will not walk. It's going to be hiking, biking, and canoeing, and maybe a swim or 2.
You have a GoPro?
Nice.
I have, no, but no, I should maybe get one of those. Yeah.
You need to put it on your head so we can see you.
There are going to be cameras all over the place too, but
If you don't make it, who do you want us to replace you with on the commission?
I have a notarized envelope that's sealed that goes to the governor if I do not make it. But I appreciate it.
You're going to make it.
I hope so, yeah. I mean, I've camped. It's just been a little while.
You've been training for this whole life.
Somewhat. It's a great opportunity. But I'll keep you all informed as best I can, and hopefully represent you well.
I'm sure you will. All right, Commissioner Smith?
I just have one quick thing. As you know, last weekend was a big weekend at Hickory Point. I just want to give a shout out to our Parks and Recreation crew. They did an absolute phenomenal job. In case you didn't know, we had a fishing clinic for the little kids there. We had a soccer tournament there. We had a volleyball tournament with over 1,100 participants and visitors. We had pavilion rental all going on at the same time without a hitch. Everything ran as smooth as possible, so I can't thank Bobby and his team. Excellent, excellent, excellent job at making Lake County shine through all those visitors, not only across Central Florida, but other states and with a couple of teams from Puerto Rico. So thank you very much for that.
All right. On my report, first of all, I want to say thank you to Bobby for handling the situation this morning, and for the fact that you guys were already working on that, and it's clear that there is a plan and it's being worked on. You just do your best sometimes to get information out, and you hope that people will understand that these things don't happen overnight, especially really major projects that are very expensive projects that are difficult to engineer because of where they're located. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to Bobby for going the extra mile, like he always does. I wanted to mention, I wanted to ask the county attorney, first of all, is it possible, or is it appropriate if I were to give an update on what I'm doing this week with regard to the deposition, or?
You can update in general, just no
general?
details.
With regard to the case involving the Mid-Florida Materials Landfill, there are depositions on Thursday, and I am one of the people being deposed. So, working on my preparation right now. Not right now, but soon after this meeting.
Is it video or just audio? I mean, transcribed with a court reporter.
I don't know whether they'll video.
I have not heard that it's video. I don't think it is.
Okay.
All right.
So who do we need to send get well cards to? Who's deposing you?
The other thing I wanted to mention is what we were talking about. We were looking at the map with the wildlife corridor and looking at South Lake County, and I wanted to bring up the Lake Louisa Road corridor to see if we could look at that again for purposes of, I know in the past it was reviewed for purposes of trying to calm traffic and dissuade people from using it as a highway, basically, because of the nature of that road and its proximity to Lake Louisa Park and the lake itself, and just, it's from what I understand, people travel it often at high speeds, and it really needs to be, they really need to be slowing down. It puts wildlife at risk. It also puts people, humans at risk that are walking or trying to cross the road and so forth. So I just wanted to put that request in, that we could take a look at what we've looked at before and maybe come back with a plan on how we can try to calm traffic.
We'll take a look at that.
I'll just say I support that. We know Jeff, some of us have been on and off talking about that road for years, and we did do the reworking of a curve. I think that may have helped a little bit with safety, but there's always the issue, like you said, of the crossing and people going 55 miles per hour when people are crossing over to the other side. So, the thought is maybe some crosswalks that are elevated with a, not elevated bridge, but like a speed table, something like that. I mean, whatever, I'm sure there's some options, but I'm supportive of that as well. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, and it's not something just in Lake Louisa. There's something going, I don't understand why it's been going on for years, but people are just absolutely being crazy with their driving. 441, 19, old 441, Lakeshore Drive, they're passing on double yellows, 48. I mean, it's all over the place. I don't know why people are in such a hurry to make the extra 15 seconds. It's crazy. So I don't know. You can't regulate stupidity, but you can just certainly go out there and try to say, hey, you know what? Wait the 30 seconds. I don't understand. I've been passed on double yellow lines, and I'm going just above the speed limit, certainly not as fast as they want to go.
Yeah.
And I just don't get it. I don't know what happened to our society to have everybody go in that big of a hurry. I just don't get it. But I understand the issue and I understand the problem.
You can't regulate stupidity, but they don't have to give as many people as they do driver's licenses either, or let them keep them. But,
correct.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just have to hire more law enforcement across the board and start doing
Well, and the
speeders.
safety-
I don't know.
And I appreciate what you're saying. I think we've all witnessed it. But at least, when there are opportunities for some modifications to be made that actually cause people to maybe not want to use a route as they're cut through, or it forces them to take it slower. I think that's that concept of traffic calming, and a road like Lake Louisa Road would hopefully be a good candidate for trying to slow folks down. Okay, all right,
Agree
well, that,
100%.
appreciate everybody's support on that, and good meeting, and we will be back when Commissioner Parks gets back from his trek, and we look forward to seeing maybe some sort of a presentation, some pictures, a little video.
I'll do it.
You guys are going to be like the astronauts,
might
you
go
know,
get a
you come
GoPro.
back and you're going to say, we're never going to be the same after this 150 miles that we went together across the state of Florida.
That's right. They'll probably never be the same, the people that were with us, but.
Speaking of astronauts, though, what an amazing thing that happened over the last week, and just so cool to be a Floridian right now, and to, you know, it's like the old days with the launches and going back to the moon, amazing, and so proud of our country, and so proud of the astronauts and all of the people that made that happen. So, and it's just really cool to see the kids and the young people, they're really into it. And so, way to go, Artemis, and way to go, America. So I'll turn it over to you to close out the meeting.
Okay, so my dad would be really proud about today. I don't know if he'd be proud or kind of shaking his head, but in case you were wondering, today is National Pecan Day. So go out, shuck a couple of pecans, have pecan pie, and they're pecans from Georgia. That's all I have.
All right, well, everybody enjoy some pecans, and appreciate that. All right, we stand adjourned.